I feel like I'm
Kelly,
yes, sir.
Reminder of it, she paid that she's not on another check. So you pay it on the phone.
we've got about 2 more minutes. We have one more Miss Bay.
See, my sister she texted 2:54. I'm ready to be admitted.
Scott's out of
She's
town.
right down there, so I felt like
4:51. I said, well, I didn't admit it. She said, crossing River Bridge on the way. So town must not.
Scott's out of town, so I don't think we'll be here.
we were late.
The first
I got in there late, she got in there late.
text that she was actually on her. She said on Miriam said they were in the.
Any actions to take now?
She had that video.
If you want to throw me under the bus, I'm fine with that.
What's that?
If you want to throw me under the bus, I'm fine with that.
I would never do that.
Well, I'm just saying, it's my mistake.
I'm always a problem. They may just be needed, so don't worry about it. Enjoy life.
That thing picked up Cleo the horse.
They're tall.
Can we watch Jeopardy?
I'm in Jeopardy up here. It's now 7 o'clock. I'm going to call to order the meeting for Industrial Development Board. Ms. Lynn, if you got an accounting of the role of the president. I know Mr. Grants is not here. Mrs. Day may be here. She may show up. So we have a quorum confirmed. Meeting is called to order. Let's stand and face the flag and have our pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In your packet, you should have had, that's too loud, somebody wait a in your packet, you should have had a copy of the minutes from the last meeting of March 25th. If you've had an opportunity to read through those minutes, if there's any corrections, deletions, or otherwise additions, please let's make note. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
So,
Mr. Seth Thurman makes a motion.
second.
Mr. Moreland seconds. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? And so passes. The treasurer's report is in your packet. There has been no transaction activity. We have a balance.
It's a typo. It's the
Okay.
same.
It's the same.
Yeah. Sorry.
So is the true balance 115 or 114?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, I got the statement. I thought I looked at that. Well, sir. $114.
114.
355.45.
Okay, so the accurate balance, there's been no activity since last month. The accurate balance is 114, 355.45. Going to give a summary of item number 6, and that's mostly what we're doing tonight, is just kind of updating everyone. We don't really have any actions to take at this moment, but we have a lot of activity swirling around, and I think it's helpful for everyone to be completely up to date on the activities because we seem to be pretty active these days. The Tennessee Central Economic Association Board of Directors met on last Friday, the 23rd, and I was fortunate enough to attend. In that meeting, they voted on several things. We heard an update from Tri-County Electric on the status of the power grid in the PowerCom district. They were kind of telling us the available power for that area should a larger or more consumption needy manufacturing business were to come in there, and they had 7.5 kilowatts, if I understand the term right, available power. He showed a breakdown of the businesses that had relocated in the state of Tennessee during the last fiscal year. It's 224, and of that, only 8% of those businesses required more than 7.5 kilowatts. So he felt confident that they were in a good place. Now, should they have a larger style manufacturing business that would want to come in and potentially require as much as 10 kilowatts, they said they could upgrade and ramp up. Now, it could take a year, if I heard that term right, but it could be done at a timeline. Of course, a business of that size couldn't get done in a year anyway, so if they know it's coming. So he felt confident that General for Tri-County felt confident that they could supply whatever power needs that the industrial areas would need in our community. So it was really informative. I don't know that that has a large barrier to what we do here, but it was really, really informative and educational. Under item number 7 was voted on at that meeting, and it was an update I'm giving you an update on the request for the available Tennessee Central funds for reimbursement on our expenses, the board, IDB's board expenses on the land sale associated with the land sale for Mr. Anderson's meat processing plant, $5,176.05. That did get passed. So we will be reimbursed that amount. I spoke with Mr. Lyons today. They're going to have those funds available by the end of the week or the first of the week, and I'm just going to go back and take a look and transfer them to Mr. Thurman. So that went well. We're excited about that. On item number 8, at the last meeting, the chair was granted authorization to engage with Younger and Associates out of Jackson, Tennessee, to operate on our behalf for future pilot programs. They will serve as the evaluation experts. They will collect the matrix and evaluate and advise us on the best way forward and the sort of incentives that we should and should not offer that would not only benefit the community, but it's also hopefully the company trying to relocate here. The magic thing about that is that you're trying to straddle the fence. You want to lure them in, but you don't want to give away the farm. So we want to incentivize them to move here, but at some point it has to benefit our community. So these people have the skills and experience and data to tell us, do this, don't do that. Give this, don't give that. So each deal will be individual, and there's no cookie cutter deal. Everyone's going to be different, and the evaluation process will be with Younger. But upon contacting our representative with Younger after the last meeting, I have not yet signed anything with them. They said not to worry about that. They put us in the queue to do the basic economic model for our community, which is the first step. They come in and do a basic economic model, and it gives them the groundwork, and then they're prepared for a deal that might come down the pike as somebody may or may not request a pilot in the future. Also, our representative, Ms. Lana Sweet, has spoken with the representative of TDA. And TDA indicated that that would not be a problem with them, and there would be some some reimbursement avenues for us, on that sort of thing. So that all went well. So it does not appear that we're gonna have to front that $1,500 that had been mentioned. It looks like that it's possible that, and even likely that that'll come directly from TVA. It will not have to flow through us. We will not have to pay up front and get reimbursement. So that's a good thing. It just takes us out of the loop. And that's an exciting thing, because TVA seems to be very, very supportive of this board and our endeavors to grow and offer these programs. So I was excited to hear that. Also on item number 9, and Mayor Chambers, please correct or jump in anytime you want to on this, but we had a meeting with Mr. Rochelle and Mr. Benson, who's with us tonight. Thank you for coming. Going all the way out from Lebanon for this, so I appreciate that. But we had a meeting with Mr. Rochelle and Mr. Benson, Tennessee Central Representative Dan Kitkin, and the mayor and I. And it was basically just going over the language in the pilot contract and policies and procedures that we had adopted last year. That was a draft that had been, and please correct me if I misspeak, but that was a draft that had been drawn up by a previous Tennessee Central representative some years ago. And of course, those types of deals are fluid and change every day. And Mr. Rochelle is absolutely the most knowledgeable person that we would ever be lucky enough to find about this stuff. So he's going through it with Mr. Benson, and they're going through it with a fine-tooth comb and updating, refining, streamlining that policy, and we're still in works on that. Is that fair and accurate, Mr. Benson?
Yes, sir, that policy was initially drawn up to begin the discussions of crafting that pilot program, and that Tennessee Central staff member left and went somewhere else, and then we had to change over the board. So it kind of sat there until this most recent look at it.
So it's a good meeting. It's complex, and I'm glad we had very, very good help and guidance in this, because it is a very complex thing. That the mayor's an attorney, he probably understood it all, I did not. So I just kind of sat there and tried to look like I did. It was a good meeting, and it's productive, and we're taking active and aggressive steps forward to move forward with our endeavor on the pilot programs to get that in place. On number 10,
How long do you think, do you have any idea of how long it will be before the pilot is finished, ready to present?
Mr. Benson, do you have any kind of idea? We haven't even discussed the timeline.
Well, it's, from our end, we are giving out suggestions, and it's really, local officials looking at the policy decisions, what are we willing to give, maybe a timeline. So that's starting those discussions with what we have out. But as far as what we have that document in place, and we can just make our notes and changes, suggestions to that. That's something are written already. I believe our decisions we made.
I believe the process, and please correct me, Mr. Benson, if I'm out of sorts on this, but once they complete the revisions or the suggestions, they're going to redline these things that we should consider changing or revising to meet with more current streamlined process or more current standards. Then that will be sent to the mayor and I believe there will be some input from particular leaders that will be chosen or citizens. And so we can get some public input on that, and then those decisions will be made to define that. Then it will go back to Mr. Benson and Mr. Rochelle for final approval in writing. And then once that contract is in place, if I understand the process correctly, then it can be presented to the county commission for approval based on those parameters.
I think that was more my question, when would it be ready to go to the county commission? I know there's been some talk of the subcommittee put together to.
I can't give you an exact date when it's going to go to county commission, because the whole thing with the kind of get feedback is to make sure you have something that is going to be somewhat acceptable when you submit it to the county commission. First, it's got to go to budget and finance and be approved there, and then go to full commission. But as far as the subcommittee, the suggestion was to appoint, I believe it's a 3-member committee that can review any pilot applications that would be separate from the IDB. And I believe the suggestion was maybe a subcommittee on budget and finance, so 3 budget and finance committee members could review any applications that come in from a potential pilot grantee to look at it at that time. So, but as far as the initial turning it over to the budget and finance, or I guess at first it goes steering committee and then you send it to budget and finance. I can't give you a date on that right now. I would shoot to say maybe 3 to 4 months, given how quickly and what all the input is on that. But that might be, I can't, Mr. Benson, you think that's a generous timeline, or does that seem very?
I think that's accurate, and with Lori, it's not necessarily a trouble, it's time to put the documents together, it's just making sure y'all are on board with the changes that we're suggesting and accept those. We want to give you a document that's blank, instead of point out what we suggest as a change, so we make sure that every step of the way, we're changing this word, we're not about it.
So, if I'm understanding the process, we're gonna take the red line, annotate existing copy. Industrial board will look at that, decide what they want to do as far as work. And once y'all approve that, then that's gonna come in to the county commission.
That's not exactly how I understand it. I think what is gonna happen is, once that we receive that document and we reviewed it, we're gonna put together a few members of the community to help us, and we're gonna meet with them and help us go over this document change and get their input as well. And once we have decided on those changes, we're gonna send those changes back to Mr. Benson and Mr. Rochelle for final approval. And then when we get a final document back from them, then that document will need to go before steering, budget, finance, and then commission for approval, I believe.
I believe we'll have to come back to IDB to get initial approval from the IDB to submit it to steering where to go budget and finance.
Now,
Have to change that, but
I think once the county commission has approved the general parameters of those documents, like it'll have a max cap of the years that we could offer, like we could only offer up to 10 years. But if we craft each individual deal differently, then after the county commission passes the approval on the basic document, then each deal will need to be reviewed and approved by the 3-person subcommittee for budget finance, so it doesn't have to go back in front of the full body each and every time there's a deal. And it would streamline it because it's so complex, you're gonna get.
So that 3-member committee, subcommittee, would be basically looking at it to make sure it's within the parameters of what's been agreed. As long as it is, and they basically sign off on it, it would not need to go back and forth.
That's my understanding.
That's my understanding of the way it would work. I think that's the best way for it to work.
And that's really something, that's a policy decision that's got to be kicked around in the 3-person committee. That's something we think can work. And that's just, everybody can wrap their hand around getting authority to that. That's working towards getting resolution to the county commission to approve that.
My reasoning for doing that is it is a very complex document. It is a complex process with a lot of working pieces. And I think it would be better decided by people more skilled in that process than the commission in general. We have 20 people, we have 20 opinions. We have 3 people, we have 3 opinions. So I think I personally would try to steer the commission in that direction. I can't speak for them on that, but that seems like a wise direction to go.
Yeah, yes, sir. I appreciate you saying that, in that the sense that the whole commission comes together, and this is what we're comfortable with, and we're comfortable getting that power to this committee.
And we do that, we've done that on many things in the past. It wasn't that's without precedent. I mean, we turned water board decisions to the water board, so it's no different than something like that.
Mr. Mayor, did you have anything to do with that?
no, I believe Mr. Benson covered whatever I was gonna say, so.
And back to the main point, that we work on getting all the IDB's policy together, and at that point, work towards getting a resolution to the commission.
So I think, Mr. Jewell and the mayor chambers will probably at some point need to discuss, setting up that subcommittee for budget finance in advance of this document coming down the pipe, so that might be a step that you guys can consider as well. And who those people might be that you would consider, because it is an extremely complex monster.
I believe we do have members of the Budget and Finance Committee that understand the process and what we're trying to do with it. I don't think it would be an issue.
So I would really like to say that it's gonna happen in 2 months, but I think that's unrealistic. I think 3 to 4 months is about right.
I wasn't looking for a commitment, I was just looking for a general, I like to know what's out there.
Well, we actually haven't even considered that, so it's a good question. You know, we have several new things happening in the community, and there might even be some people or businesses that would be interested in applying, and we need to be prepared. And we've actually started this at a very fortunate time, because there's lots of new activity happening. And if we had not started until now, we'd be behind the 8 ball to get it done. So I think we did a good thing by starting last year.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your help and support. On number 10, we had a motion to request funding from the County Commission of Trousdale County for support for the Retail Strategies Project. Nothing has happened on that yet. The budget the budget meetings are starting pretty soon, in a few weeks, and we'll make our case then for a request, but to this point, nothing's happened or taking place actually on that.
Actually, budget hearing should start next week, and I believe the request from the IDB should be on Thursday, May 6th. It should be under the nonprofits section, so that's when the budget committee will take up that request.
Very good, thank you, Mayor. Thursday, May 6th. Right, moving on to number 11. And Mayor, feel free to jump in anytime because you were in this meeting as well, but we had a 2-hour Zoom meeting with Retail Strategies. And it was basically an update on their action plan. They've been doing the groundwork, trying to move forward with getting us ready to market us to potential retail businesses. And they presented their first draft packet that they would present, basically their sales brochure for Trousdale County. It was fascinating. It was a fascinating and wealth of knowledge and depth in their analyzation that I was very impressed with. It was a long meeting. It was a very good and productive meeting. We are still analyzing that packet, and then it's not ready for public consumption yet, or ready to be distributed, rather, is a way to say it. Mayor, did you have comments?
No, we just had that meeting on the 14th, and I haven't been able to review it yet. I was out on vacation last week. I've been busy since I got back. I haven't had a chance to review it. I believe it's 100 and something plus pages, so I haven't had a chance. I've skimmed it generally, but I haven't really sat down and analyzed it thoroughly. So I hope to do that before the end of the week and have some kind of idea on that. But it's very interesting listening to the ideas and some of the things they have during that Zoom meeting, and I think it's going to. There are some discussion points that's going to have a lot more in-depth discussion than others, but I think it's a very good starting position to work out kind of downtown revitalization and roll it into some of the other things we're already doing.
I completely agree. I was energized by the meeting. Members should have all received that packet, the information on your email. If you did not, please contact me and I'll make sure I send you a copy. But I would encourage you to try to take the time to read through it. And if you see anything that you disagree with or that you feel like is inaccurate, or they left something out that could be helpful, please contact myself and with those suggestions, because they're looking for input on this. They want to craft this in such a way that we as a community are with it, stand behind it. Number 12, other business. I was just going to give you an update on the Patriot project that it came before, they had submitted a letter of intent to purchase a parcel of property from Tennessee Central and the Power Complex. That did come before the Tennessee Central Board of Directors meeting on Friday that I was attending, and it did pass. So they have given their consent to accept their letter of intent, and then I'm not sure exactly what the very next step is, but it is moving forward at a rapid pace, and I'm pretty excited about it. If there's any other business that anybody on the board would like to bring up or discuss, now would be the time. Do they have anything? Mr. Chairman?
I've had a question come up to me about the slaughterhouse. There was to be some screening. I don't know whether that was IDB or planning. I believe it was probably more for planning commission
That was
of
from
site
planning.
plan. That,
I remember the discussions in the planning commission about that, and that was all done under planning. The only thing the IDB did was the contract sale to Mr. Anderson. Everything beyond that, as far as site plans and requirements and all that stuff, is all in the planning commission.
I will tell you that I was by the property a few days ago, and there's yellow flags staked out along the road that I take as an indication of where the trees are going to be planted, so they won't mow them down. So I saw some activity that led me to believe that that is an active process. I don't know what his time parameters were on that.
I know that he's had some issues, some problems with getting deliveries because of his address. It's not, the address is incorrect, it's just that the address was a brand new address, and it hasn't had time to propagate through the various systems. We can't access UPS's computers to put his address in there. And it takes a while on any new address for it to propagate through all these systems. I did a search, ran some processing on Google Earth, and it popped it right up. So I do know that it's being done through some of these systems. The two end addresses across the road from him are incorrect. We've never corrected them. They're the old city addresses. And we're going to attempt to change his from 100, which is correct, to something in the 540s, so that until he gets a sign up, he doesn't even have a sign on his building that says Anderson Meat Processing or 100 Industrial Way. I wonder why people can't find his building. But anyway, we're going to try to work with him on that and give him an incorrect address to try to make him happy, even though people still won't be able to find him. But so the 911 board has tried to address that to help him with that situation. In case somebody says something to you about it, just wanted you to know.
Thank you. I will say that I feel like the board would agree that we're happy to see him up and running and being we got his business going, and we want to see people be prosperous and successful and be good citizens and members of our community. And I have all faith in the Lord that Mr. Anderson is going to be there. So I'm happy to see him doing well, and I wish him much continued success.
One other thing that we did, the county commission passed a resolution asking Board of Regents with PCAT to add meat processing to their curriculum somewhere in their system. Because it is a major industry within Tennessee. There's not a lot of places for people to get trained for that. And I did forward those documents on Grainger County is the one that initiated this. They're evidently having a lot of problems getting people in those type of plans. So hopefully that may help him, maybe not immediately, but some point in the future, help him or other facilities like this. Train people.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. On a similar issue, we've got several new potential businesses relocating to our community that we're very, very excited about and fully support. But they're going to have a lot of need for machinists and skilled tradesmen's jobs. And had a meeting with another one today that is going to be similarly looking for the same type thing, that's gonna be an increased demand. And I think that our community has a very good raw material crop for these, because we have such a good school system, but we need to get them from Trousdale County into TCAP. They're gonna be properly trained where these other businesses can farm them out. The ones I was, even said they're gonna do, I guess, job shadowing, internship, or things like that to try to merge in, because that's helpful for them to find those well-trained, skilled young people. I'm particularly supportive of that idea because I want to find a way to keep our students in county after they get out of school. When they graduate, I don't want to lead them to another county for work that they might move. I'd like for them to stay here, live here, work here, and stay in our community. These are all going to be very well-paying jobs, but they're high-skilled jobs. They're blue-collar skilled jobs. So I'm excited about that. I'm a lot more excited about that than I would be if, say, for instance, Google or Facebook with a lot of intellectuals who's living here, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I would really like to invigorate our blue-collar segment and give some people some good-paying skilled jobs. And those jobs transfer to many other businesses. So once you learn that skill, you'll never be unemployed. When you're a good welder, or you're a machinist, or you can write an AutoCAD program for CNC lathe, you will never be out of work, and you'll always have a good career. I can speak from experience that transcends whatever business you learned in and transfers to others. So I would really like to get your help in discussing that with TCAT as well, and maybe invigorating their machinist program to cater to these incoming businesses, because it looks really good, like there might be something on it.
Brian, will that be in conjunction with dual enrollment through the high school, or is that going to be a secondary education that would happen after they graduate high school?
I'm not qualified to answer that question, but I believe it could be both.
You know, I think it could go both ways, or either way.
Because TCAT does have a dual enrollment with Trousdale
Have
County
you
High
had
School.
anything with that? Do you think that's something that would?
Well, I think through the CTE program and other things, you would get, I think, a certain level of education, and you could go to TCAT and get further education. I told the gentleman today, there's currently, the state has a apprenticeship program where they could go to work, say, let's say, from 8 to noon, and then after that, they would go to TCAT and where they're getting education and everything. So that program's out there as well, but I think the TCAT would just serve to supplement what they've gotten at the high school, kind of finish it off and raise them to an even higher level, because right now, in the mechatronics program at the high school, you graduate with a Siemens Level 1 certification, which I had one company tell me that if they had somebody that graduated from Trousdale County today with that certification, tomorrow they could hire them, making $28 an hour beginning. And after that, they would increase up. So you can only get above that if you go to TCAT and get further education. So it puts them on a really good career track. It's just to keep TCAT and supplement what's been done at the high school.
And with the Tennessee Promise program of scholarship, they go to school basically for free. And that's an easy pathway to an instant career and a life of security. So I would really like for our community to encourage our young people to take advantage of these avenues, because I did not have that avenue when I came out of school, or I would have taken advantage of it myself. So we would really like to see that. I put on other business, the new meeting schedule. I know I kind of moved the meeting on me a little bit. I apologize for that, but I'm hoping that this will work good for everybody on the 4th Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock. Our meetings typically are not terribly long, so hopefully they won't keep you from missing your bedtime. But also being on 7th, we have some folks that are self-employed, like Mr. Borland, and sometimes they're coming from across county or across state to get here in time, and we give everybody an opportunity to get here so we can help quorum and they can participate, because their opinions and their points of view are valuable, so I want them to be here. Also, the 4th Tuesday seems to be not terribly populated with meetings, so if it's okay with everybody, I'd like to make this our regular schedule, and if you have conflict with that, please let me know, so we'll try to make sure that everybody can participate.
We have water board at 5, there's 4 members of this, and 4 people that are here. We're members.
works better for me.
But I think
It works better
Ms.
for
May
me. I
said the
mean,
same thing. She said that worked good for her because that makes one trip to town and she kills two birds with one stone by getting two
exactly.
meetings.
I mean, there could be a possibility where it would bleed over. If we had a really long meeting, but most cases, I think we'd be fine.
Pretty rare to go beyond 5:30 or south or 6:30.
Exactly.
Well, if that is the case, and you're tangled up, I mean, you're chairman of that board now, your text is going to try to delay and this, your presence is valuable, so we want you to be here.
Right. We'll communicate.
I think it will go well.
I think it'd be great. I like it.
That fairly well concludes everything that I had on the agenda tonight, unless there's anything that I would like to add or discuss.
No, I think we pretty much covered everything, that at least to a point where we can talk about it. I don't have anything.
I believe we'll have some even more exciting news by our next meeting. We're limited on what we can say about some things, but we have some exciting things in the pipeline. I will say that, I think I'm not wrong for saying that, but we'll try to keep you apprised as soon as we're allowed. Or if permissible to do so. Some of these projects will be flirting with purchasing property and leasing property under anonymous names because anonymity is important for them until they get to a particular place where they're prepared. That's a common practice across the country, so it's not anything new and shady here, it's just kind of a common practice. A lot of times they'll flirt with multiple communities before they make a decision, and they don't want their name out there until they know where they're gonna land. So, that being said, we'll try to keep you apprised as we allow good stuff, new and exciting things happening. I'm very excited. Now we've reached the section for our public comments. If anyone joining us from the community would like to speak to anything on the agenda, we'll be happy to hear you. And thank you for coming. We appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much. Yeah, Ms. Morton, anything? And thank you for that. Please feel free to reach out anytime you have a question. I'll be happy to help you with that. All right, well, if that's the case, I know it was not a very active meeting, but hopefully everybody feels like they're called up to speed, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. If anybody wants to leave, Mr. Thurman, Mr. Robert Thurman makes the first motion. Second, Mr. Moreland makes a second. We are so adjourned. Thank you so much for attending.
I thought it was you that a moment ago.